Hey, welcome back to Lanticord videos. This one comes to us from Brandon Whitman. Now, Brandon, you asked the question, well, what Lanticord do actually all the Espada from Bleach end up in? So I figure, at least first, starting right now, I'd go with the 10, and we'll just work our way down when I eventually get to the other ones. Now, the Espada were antagonists, villains, in the Bleach series, the anime, manga. And there are evil spirits called hollows. These guys did something that made them stronger, turned them into kind of humanoids with powers. Their powers are sealed in their swords, and when they release their power, they change their forms, gain abilities, usually, so forth and so on. Well, Yami actually is oddly enough, the weakest and strongest of the Espada. Technically, the species are called a Rancor, but the Espada are like their top 10. When he's sealed, he's the weakest, but when he releases his power, he is the strongest. It's actually the Zero Espada when he's the strongest. And all of them are very unique. Well, it'll definitely be more difficult to pinpoint a Lanticorp that more of them, like a lot of the more detailed characters fit into, because you see a bit more facets of the personality. With Yami, it's a pretty self-explanatory Lantern Corps he belongs into, because each of the Espada represent an aspect of death. Some are a bit more esoteric or, unique, like nihilism, despair, time, things along those lines. Yami's, however, is not so subtle. It is wrath, i.e. rage. Yami's Lanticore is rage. It's Lanticore of rage. No doubt about it. 100%. There's no argument there. It is rage. In fact, he literally gets stronger the anger he gets, similar to the Hulk. But for the sake of just argument and making this over at least 2 minutes, let's actually at least quickly go over all the other Lanticorps, which you can see on the sidebar here and down here. And just quickly go over if he could even qualify on some level for them. From the little we know, he's a very brash, very arrogant, very pig-headed, not very intelligent individual who's prone to getting angry because that's what his power is based around. So with willpower, your main category for willpower or main qualifications, you have to overcome great fear. Secondly, you have to have a pretty strong willpower. Now, Yami clearly isn't really afraid of anything, but he's not... His willpower, he's probably, all Espada probably have solid willpower, but he's just not a Green Lantern really at all. Fear, that one you can make an argument for. A strong argument against his rage, which is his focal nature. No, I couldn't say it'd be a strong case over rage, but there's a case you can make, especially when he transformed into his final resurrection. He did scare the group down there, which consists of Chad, Renji, and Rukia. But it's not as strong a case as you could argue, just the fact that everyone else wasn't afraid of them. Ichigo wasn't afraid of him. Byakuya and Kenpachi just made sport out of him, so no. He has no love in his heart whatsoever. So Violet's out. Greed is a weird one. Now here's the thing with greed. Someone brought this up, and I'm going to propose a bit of a counter argument to it. Though it's not wrong. It's that they said that you don't actually have to be greedy to qualify for the Lanticore of Avarice. It amplifies what greed's already in you. And that is true, but you need to have a certain amount of greed to have it drawn to you to begin with. Larfleeze and his brother grew up with nothing. Therefore, they wanted everything, and therefore they battled for, and Larfleeze eventually won the Orange Lantern, the Orange Light of Greed. So you do need to have a certain level of greed in your heart and ambition, and want satisfaction beyond that. That said, though, Yami at best is just, he's a glutton. He was eating and lazing around, but he didn't really want for anything. At best, he just wanted to fight. And he would have been satisfied otherwise with just, beating the crap out of individuals. So I can't say that. Blue, no, he none of the Espada, frankly, could qualify for blue. Well, that's probably not 100% true, but Yami certainly doesn't qualify for blue. He neither has hope or instills hope, so I can't qualify that. Technically speaking, all the Espada are hollows, which are souls that end up dying, going to Wake Mundo and becoming a spirit. So technically speaking, Yami is a spiritual being. Not even technically. He is a spiritual being, but technically so are the Shinigami, and they're living individuals in their own right. So I can't say death really qualifies, although most of the Espada probably could qualify for death, especially the ones that very much either symbolize death or, and I don't mean that in terms of the aspect of death they represent. I mean, like, the ones that just flat out kill and have killed God knows how much. So, in that regard, Yammy could qualify, I suppose. I don't believe any of the Espada really qualify for life at all, unfortunately. Now, last one I just want to bring up real quick is compassion. Now, clearly Yammy doesn't have any compassion. Or what little compassion he has, it's just he doesn't have it for really anyone. But I bring it up because there's two routes to compassion. You either have to, it either has to be your dominant emotion, or you have to have none, zip whatsoever compassion, because it levels you out. No matter what your level of compassion is, be it your top emotion or you don't have any, it levels you out and kind of makes you neutral. the Indigo Lantern Corps are kind of a cult in some ways, not a hive mind. That goes to the Ultraviolet Lanterns, which again I don't use very often. They're usually based in shame, so or it's believed they're based in shame. But because that's what it's believed they're based in, but not proven, I don't use them. Just because I would like actual concrete facts on that. But I imagine maybe Yammy could qualify for compassion only because he pretty much doesn't have any. But I doubt it because he seemed to at least have some sort of liking for that little dog hollow that was a pet of his. And just thinking on this real quick, are there any of the Espada that could qualify for compassion? Maybe. But that's a different story entirely. We'll get to that when we get to it. Till then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll get to a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, what if, anything to do with the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. I got a what if to get to real quick, and that'll be it for the day. Later, folks.